The Miami Boardwalk is probably one of the best boardwalks ever. It is probably one of the most peaceful ones. It's extremely long. It goes all the way from South Point Park, all the way down South Beach, all the way down there, and it goes all the way up to Sunny Isles, which is almost borderline Broward County. It is an awesome place to come walk. It is an awesome place to come skateboard, or maybe you like to rollerblade, or maybe just ride your bicycle. It is an awesome place, and it's just next to the beach. You don't need to live in this neighborhood or in any of these neighborhoods in order to come here, but if you do, that helps a lot. So the boardwalk is basically the backyard of all of these properties, all of these buildings, which I guess at some point most of these properties used to be houses or empty lots, but fast forward 2020, what is it now, 2023? Most of these buildings, most of these places that are right next to the beach, they happen to be apartment buildings. Some of them hotels, but for the most part, apartment buildings. So it's a very nice thing to have in the back of your property if you can take this road over to work, if you happen to have something in South Beach or somewhere in Miami, but then you can also just go across it if you want to take a swim in the ocean. Not to count that most of these buildings, they're loaded with amenities like pools and gyms and saunas and tennis courts, and I don't know. These are very nice buildings. Now I guess pricing, it's slightly different, depends on of course each property is going to be slightly different. Look, this is new. It's coming up. So I guess you have to do your homework and check out what's out there, Zillow.com and Realtor.com, or maybe Facebook Marketplace, and what size place are you looking for? I don't know, maybe you're a big family, or maybe you're just you, I don't know. Look, there's a little bit of everything for everybody, and that's the cool thing about it. It's can give you whatever life you want, and for the most part these buildings are fairly new. When you see their parking lot, when you see their first floor, it's fairly high. It's not exactly leveled up with the street. Nah, not really. They started to build, and they were thinking ahead of time. Whether they knew that the sea level was going to rise or no, I don't know. But, all of that wall below those windows, that's just empty space. That's the foundations of the building. The buildings, they start a little higher up. So if the water goes up, they still have, some time. I'm not a scientist, so I can't tell you how long, but you never hear about floodings in this area. You hear about floodings down in Brickell, and let me tell you maybe why, because that's basically a city center that it's been there for a while already, and there's some buildings that pretty established and that probably will need to be renewed soon. But it's the oldest side of town. So it's all the way out in the tip of the peninsula. Kind of makes sense that it's a little lower sea level wise than the rest. So that's where you hear about floodings. Never here. Like, it's fairly rare to hear about floodings on A1A. It's more about other areas, but A1A, just next to the ocean. We're talking about a very bad hurricane, and that will bring a lot of sand, but very, very rare to hear about floodings in this area. So it's just my thinking. What's happening, or what happens most of the times, is that the storm comes, happens whatever has to happen, and then there's a period of cleaning, there's a period of, of setting down, and then after a few weeks everything's back to normal, at least around this area. As I said, you never hear about floodings here. I don't know. Front side of the buildings looks like this. We're back to Miami, right? This is A1A, and again, what you see is buildings that, even not so young buildings, are building high. They're leaving almost nothing in the base, or they're retrofitting to make room for water should it come. But then again, remember, this area, the street itself, this guy, A1A, it never floods, which means that not only the buildings around us were smart at the time of the building, they also intentionally built the road, A1A, slightly higher than the rest of Miami. Pretty fun.